I'm Julian Restrepo, a commercial photographer and director. Let's answer some common questions on Google about commercial photography. Why is photography so expensive? Yes, I understand that photography can get quite expensive is because it is in this intersection between the creative part but also the technology part. There are many moving parts inside a camera, and not only the camera, but there's a lot of glass in the lenses, moving glass parts, and all of that, it's always evolving just as technology. So every 3 to 6 months, you're gonna hear of a new camera that has certain new features that can make our work faster and easier. And for that reason, of course, just like cars or anything else, things depreciate and we need to adapt to the times. Of course, we want to do our work as fast as possible, as easy as possible for our clients. So we need to constantly be updating, upgrading our equipment. At the end of the day, photography is just a business like anything else. So besides the part of the equipment, you have expenses like any other business, and you need to keep the lights on. So that can escalate pretty quickly, and that is the reason, or one of the many reasons, why photography can escalate and be perceived as expensive. What does commercial photography mean? So commercial photography is basically referring to the kind of photography that is used in marketing to promote and to sell a company or an individual's services or products. Is just to show the products in the best light possible, or situations in which we are using the services of a certain company, and all those different scenarios that involve creativity to, at the end of the day, sell or promote. Many years ago, it used to be illustrations. Now, photography and of course video has taken over that part, and it is the vehicle to get to your audience as a brand or as a person to promote, again, your products or services. Why is commercial photography important? I think it is important because it is the vehicle that companies and individuals are using to promote their company, their services, their products. Without it, it would be just like, mouth to mouth telling you about their products or their services. So we need to illustrate in a certain way what is it that we're selling or that my clients are selling, and show it to the public, show it to an audience with the hopes that they will be attracted to it, they will understand or feel related to the situation, and create demand for the product or service. So it is an integral part of marketing, along with, as I mentioned before, illustration, and now is this multimedia with stills and video to showcase in creative ways the products or services of a company. How is a commercial photographer different from a regular photographer? So a commercial photographer or an advertising photographer, at the end, it pretty much means the same. What makes it different is that we don't deal necessarily with regular people. We're not there to capture a moment in time for posterity. We're not there for the impromptu capturing, basically not for the memory preservation, if we call it like that way, right? We're not capturing those moments as they happen just to keep a memory. A commercial photographer, it's more technical, although it has a lot of creativity. It is just basically how to show the product or service from my client in the best way possible, in the most creative, with the best light, etc., etc. It grows quite a bit because sometimes it involves advertising agencies or marketing firms or a marketing team. It's basically constantly working with companies mostly, but also individuals that are their own brands to promote their services or their products. So that is the main difference. A regular photographer can be doing that usually to preserve memories, or they can be working with regular people that are not businesses, to capture their wedding, their portraits, a moment in time, to preserve those memories. Whereas the commercial photographer, again, mostly working with companies. Why is commercial photography so hard? Commercial photography can be perceived as hard, and I would say up to a certain point, yes, it is hard because it is way more technical. Since we're not capturing the moment as it happens of a certain situation in life, we have more control over it. So that is the part that makes it more complex. The client or an advertising agency that they hired or a marketing firm usually have a very clear concept, creative concept on how to show the product or to portray their services in the best way possible. And in order to achieve that vision, it requires a lot of technical knowledge to be able to bring that concept to life. Why? Because usually you are building sets or you are lighting in a way that reflects what would be the regular world light. But the thing is that, the regular world light, you cannot control it. And then you need to be in a controlled environment to be able to bring that vision to life. So most of the time, to bring those concepts to light, pun intended, it requires a lot of technical knowledge. It needs bigger teams and it needs like a lot more effort. And that's the reason why we talk about days of production, pre-production, and all those kind of terms that basically tell us about the process that it takes from the conception of the idea, of the vision, to, make it a reality through photography. So maybe a very logical question could be, is it too difficult to actually get started as a commercial photographer? And from my experience, I would say yes and no. I don't think it is different from trying to become any kind of professional photographer, in the sense that you need images that you can show to the world. So that's a portfolio of images that you can show to attract those businesses, to attract those clients. And your portfolio, just as everything, opens the first doors and then it keeps open other doors. So it is a living organism that you're always renewing, changing, curating in hopes to attract those different clients. And as long as you focus on that part, you will get started, and then from then you will grow as much as you pretty much want to, depending on the work that you're getting or that you want to attract. And you build from there. What does a commercial photographer charge? So comparing to a regular photographer, a commercial or advertising photographer, as we now know, will charge pretty differently, especially because the business model is totally different from a regular photographer that is working with families, people, etc. In the case of a commercial photographer, we have like two different pillars. Number one, it is the labor itself. So it is the hiring, the day of production, the actually going there and actually working towards capturing the images. So that is the first part. And since we've discussed that the production process has different stages, then of course we need to account for prep, pre-production, scouting, pre-lighting, all those different things, as well as post-production, retouching, and then delivering the actual project. So it is a lot of work that is involved that has to be charged, and that is labor. But then on the other side, and especially when it comes to commercial photography, we're doing with professional actors, professional models, people that have their name, image, and likeness involved into it. So they're allowing us to capture them for a certain commercial use. That part, and the photographer being the copyright holder of these images, we also charge for the usage of those images by those companies or advertising agency or whatever with certain parameters, certain period of time in a certain region and with certain purposes and in certain platforms, if we want to say it. It can be print, it can be digital, it can be out of home. So all those different things determine the value of those images that the client is going to use for a specific period of time, and we charge for that. That has a value. Again, just to summarize, there are two great pillars. One is labor, is you actually going and taking the capture and doing all that stuff. And then the second part is, as a copyright holder, allowing my clients to use those images for those commercial purposes. What are those commercial purposes? Promoting their services or promoting their products, selling them using my images as support in order to sell, their products or services. And I mean, of course, there are levels to the game. There are some, that charge maybe a lot of money. There are some others that, charge a little bit less, but you can, as any other career, you can have a very good standard of living out of your career. This is everything for today. I hope you learned a lot. Don't forget to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video.